They raise the price of rum in the budget. No.
The state of the economy saw the state negotiate with its neighbor. The Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, came to our shores and signed a historic agreement. His visit was reciprocated by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley later on in the year. Karen Kozier-Phillip looks back at the impact of those discussions.
Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela forged closer ties in 2016 in the areas of trade and commerce and energy. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro traveled to Trinidad on May 23rd for high-level talks with Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. This would be the first of many meetings held in 2016 between the governments of Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela. Coming out of those round of talks in May was an agreement for Trinidad manufactured goods to be shipped to Venezuela, which is grappling with its worst economic turmoil.
We have created a joint venture that will be responsible to conduct all the investments required in order to tap those resources to the benefit of both countries.
Igualmente hemos decidido.
Following the deal, a $50 million roving fund was established.
We have also decided to increase the trade flow between the two nations.
Ya se han hecho los contactos directos y muy pronto, con la creación de un fondo rotatorio de $50 millones, vamos a empezar un flujo comercial a toda la región económica del oriente del país, desde Trinidad y Tobago.
We have already established the contacts, and very soon, through a roving fund with $50 million, we will be able to strengthen the flow trade between the Trinidad and the eastern part of Venezuela.
President Maduro's visit to Trinidad was not without hiccups, though, as Venezuelans living in TNT protested against his visit. Draped in their national colors, waving flags and placards, scores of Venezuelans turned up at the entrance to President's house to express their concerns about what is taking place in their homeland. There were tense moments as the protesters beat pots and pans and called for President Maduro's removal as his entourage made its way past. Dozens of heavily armed police kept the incensed crowd at bay, using buses to block the roadway while a helicopter circled. One of the group, Antonio Parios, a member of one of the opposition parties, said things are different in Venezuela.
The Venezuelan government does not accept dissent, and there's strong repression against any opposition members. Their houses were raided illegally just for voicing opinions against the government, their own democratically expressed opinions against the government. They have been persecuted, their families have been persecuted, and their houses have been raided. Some people have died already in Venezuela just for thinking differently from this government. So that's why they fear for their lives.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley would make a return trip to Caracas in December 2016 to sign off on the largely touted gas deal with Venezuela. The historic government-to-government agreement with Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro Moros opens the door for very significant and necessary commercial exploitation of the Dragon gas field in Venezuela for resale to Trinidad and Tobago and further up the Caribbean region.
It outlines a bringing together of gas which has been underground for millions of years into plants and operations in Trinidad and Tobago from Venezuela, and together these units of commerce open doors towards a staircase upon which Trinidad and Tobago can walk confidently into the international marketplace.
The gas deal envisions construction of pipeline infrastructure to transport gas from PDVSA's Dragon field and the Mariscal Sucre zone of Venezuela to the shallow-owned Hibiscus platform located in TNT's waters near the Bocas, and then down an already existing pipeline to the Point Lisas industrial estate. The gas supply from Dragon fields would enable Trinidad to replenish dwindling gas supplies to domestic petrochemical industries and the Atlantic liquefaction complex. Upon his return to TNT, Prime Minister Rauli briefed the media on the country's new gas deal with Venezuela, which is likely to cost hundreds of millions of US dollars. However, it's a necessary expenditure.
The parties agree to take reasonable steps to facilitate A, the development, construction, operation, and maintenance of one or more pipelines from the Marisal Sucre region in the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, including a pipeline from the Dragon Field to the Hibiscus platform.
The Prime Minister gave a 4-year timeline for production of the gas from the Dragon Fields.
So therefore, what we are looking at for Trinidad and Tobago is not an immediate gas supply to our shortfall situation, but treating with a worsening situation in the near to medium term. So if we are able to have the pipeline works and the platform works and so on done in 24 months, then that would be tremendous improvement.
The main players in the project are the National Gas Company, Shell Trinidad, and the PDVSA Oil Company, with the cost of the project yet to be estimated. I'm Karen Cozier-Phillip, looking back at the impact of trade relations with Venezuela in 2016.
The fallout from low oil prices continued to be felt across the country, and several workers were put on the breadline in 2016. Janine Brown looks back at those who were sent home over the past 12 months.
After it was announced in the final quarter of 2015 that Trinidad and Tobago was in a recession, the year 2016 saw several job employers resorting to cuts as they grappled trying to adjust to the quickly contracting economy. First to get the axe were workers at Repsol, who received their termination letters on January 21st. ArcelorMittal sent home workers in 2015. The Steelworkers Union took the case to court and emerged victorious in 2016. The industrial court forced the steel company to pay $24,000 for previously laying off the workers in 2015 without proper consultation with the Steelworkers Union. President of the union, Christopher Henry, delighted in the victory.
A judgment that will go a long way in sending a message not only to ArcelorMittal, but all companies that feel that in this current climate that they could use the opportunity to take advantage of workers and take advantage of the working class.
But that joy didn't last for long. The company almost immediately after announced they were closing down all operations in Trinidad and Tobago. To compound the matter, Mittal controversially put up the plant for sale for $1. Mittal's actions created a catapult effect, with Centron subsequently announcing a 200-person cut, saying their inability to be serviced from ArcelorMittal led to the sacking. Around this time, approximately 600 WASA workers who were operating on contracts were sent home, their contracts not being renewed. OAS Constructora axed 860 workers in April who had been working on the Solomon Hochoy Highway. The axing led then CEO of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Ms. Catherine Kumar, pleading with employers not to turn to retrenchment as a first resort to deal with the economic situation. But it seems some employers did not get the message. Not long after, 16 contract workers of the National Gas Company were sent home. Trying to ease the strain on axed workers, the Ministry of Labour and Small Enterprises hosted a job expo in early April, offering alternative jobs to those who had now found themselves on the breadline. But later that same month saw the sad news of a former Centron employee who had been laid off committing suicide. 48-year-old David Francis was found hanging in his Perseverance home on April 21st. The father of two's death was linked to heighten the financial burdens incurred after being laid off in February. And our colleagues in the media fraternity were not spared from the axing, as some media houses resorted to smaller newsrooms as they too grappled with the contracting economy. In June, 16 workers from Government Information Services Limited were sent packing. Later in November, media conglomerate One Caribbean Media issued termination letters to 33 of its workers, 25 from the newspaper Trinidad Express and 8 from television station TV6. The Banking, Industrial and General Workers Union threatened to go to the industrial court after the Guardian Media Limited announced plans to lay off at least 16 workers in early December. And with that roundup, I'm thankful to still have my job here to report to you. I am Janine Brown, and that was a look back at job cuts in 2016.
We take a short break, and when we return, we continue our look at 2016's impact.